What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of showmefootball.com, covering your Kansas City Chiefs. And the Kansas City Chiefs just got an unexpected turn in the Rashee Rice situation. We'll talk about it right after this. Ladies and gentlemen of the Chiefs Kingdom, welcome back into another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of showmefootball.com, as you already heard in the intro, but nonetheless, guys, Rashee Rice, we finally got a resolution. Kind of came out of nowhere, kind of came out of the blue, but Adam Schefter of ESPN reported earlier yesterday, I'm recording this today, ESPN sources, a Dallas County judge just sentenced Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice to 5 years probation and 30 days of jail time that can be served during those 5 years, stemming from his role in a multi-car crash in Dallas during the 2024 offseason. Now that the judge has ruled, the NFL can expedite its disciplinary process, and Rice is likely to receive a multi-game suspension. So, there you guys have it. Rashee Rice, 5 years probation, 30 days in jail, can be served whenever he wants. My first reaction to this was, well, first of all, this is unexpected. This is surprising that this happened now, because it kind of sounded like this was going to get dragged out a little bit longer, that we were going to get an actual court date and there was going to be hearings for Rashee Rice. And I'm not an expert on the legal situation. The guy for that is Seth Kaiser, who does the Chief in the North newsletter and does some content work over at KCSN. But anyway, my first kind of reaction, or my thoughts whenever I saw this, despite the fact I'm not an expert, was it seems like to me that Rashee Rice's attorney said, kind of what can we do right now to kind of expedite this process? Let's get a resolution. My client, he'll take a little bit of jail time, but how can we just resolve this situation and get the case dismissed, or not dismissed, but, wrapped up? And this was what they offered. And Rashee Rice and his attorney said, yeah, we'll do that. 5 years probation, 30 days jail time, because Rashee Rice could have went through the legal process, I think, and probably ended up with no jail time. Now, still would have had some penalties, would have had to pay people some money, but this way he gets that resolution now. He can get the suspension out of the way, and that's the next step, right, is the suspension. Rashee Rice is, in all likelihood, going to be suspended after this. Pretty much everyone is expecting a multi-game suspension for Rashee Rice. What could that suspension look like is the next question that a lot of people are asking now that we got this update. And honestly, I think 3 to 4 games is probably what you're looking at. I'd be surprised if he got anything more than 4 games, and anything more than 4 games, I think, would be pretty harsh, considering the penalties that the NFL has handed out for seemingly worse incidents in the past. So I'm thinking like 3 to 4 games, and hopefully, that gets sent down at the beginning of the season. Because honestly, guys, me looking at this as a Chiefs fan, I would prefer Rashee Rice get suspended at the beginning of the season, get that out of the way. And I actually think it's the best possible situation for him, because let's be real, the Chiefs don't absolutely need Rashee Rice to win regular season football games. The Chiefs have won plenty of regular season games, missing some of their best players, missing starters. And also, I think a lot of us like what the Chiefs have done at the wide receiver position this offseason. Like, this isn't a position now where they're necessarily hurting as much as they would have last year when they lost Rashee Rice. Now you have Jalen Royals, and that's another reason why I'm kind of glad we got this resolution and that we can move on, and that Rashee Rice will probably be suspended to begin the year, because then it gives you an opportunity to give the electric rookie Jalen Royals some reps and kind of bring him along. It's going to be a good learning experience for him early on, kind of being thrown out there out of necessity. But then you also have a healthy Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy in year 2. And that's a group that you can definitely work with. So you don't absolutely need Rashee Rice to win regular season games. I do understand that the Chiefs have somewhat of a tough schedule to kick off the season, but they will find a way, as long as you're going 3-1 or 4-0, in those first few weeks of the season, that first quarter of the season without Rashee Rice, I think most fans will be pretty happy. And heck, even if you went 2-2, like no one's panicking. You're not out of the playoff picture already, nothing like that. So I actually prefer it this way. And if Rashee Rice can get that suspension out of the way in the first few weeks, I think it will also be good for him, just kind of giving him a ramp up period as he comes off of that knee injury from last year. If he can't play the first 4 weeks, well, then he can spend those 4 weeks, just rehabbing or ramping up or just giving his knee the proper rest, especially after training camp, because training camp and preseason is going to be sort of a ramp up for Rashee Rice that he hasn't quite experienced yet since that knee injury. And I almost would kind of rather him take those first few weeks of the season off, just so we're eliminating any risk of re-injury or him not quite being ready or the Chiefs rushing him back from that knee injury too early. I think this is a good situation for him where he can kind of rehab that knee. This gives him an excuse to go and do that instead of playing in football games and that knee getting hit even more. But the thing for Rashee Rice that he's got to deal with now is, when is he going to serve those 30 days in jail, right? And my friend Michael Darcy over at KC Sports Report asked the same question to his subscribers, and I kind of want to ask the same to you guys. But like, if you got sentenced to 30 days in jail that could be served at any time, would you serve them like all at once, all the 30 days? Would you kind of break it up a little bit? And if you're Rashee Rice, do you think he should break it up a little bit, or should he just serve the 30 days in jail while he's suspended? I think if I were him, I think the smart thing to do would be and go and serve those 30 days in jail while you're being suspended anyway. Because when you're suspended by the NFL, let's remember, you're not even allowed in the team facility. So Rashee Rice, it's not like he can come to the Chiefs facility and work out. I mean, he has to be away anyway, so you might as well knock out those 30 days in jail. But relatively speaking, guys, I think Rashee Rice got a slap on the wrist for this situation. I mean, he could have killed someone, and multiple people were injured in the pileup that he caused on that Dallas highway. This is, relatively speaking, a slap on the wrist, considering the damage that Rashee Rice caused, the injuries that were sustained from other people. But I think this was definitely a situation I look at. And again, I'm not an expert, but I just kind of think Rashee Rice and his attorney were, discussing with the state, or the justice system, what can we do to get this resolved so that we have a resolution? Because what you didn't want was Rashee Rice, showing up to a hearing or a court appearance, and then all of a sudden they come down with a punishment in the middle of the season, and then it becomes, are we even going to have Rashee Rice for the playoffs? Like, could they suspend him for the playoffs? Because that was definitely a risk that we were kind of looking at there. But now this way, I think the Chiefs are going to be asking for the NFL to hand down that punishment as soon as possible so they can get that out of the way and have Rashee Rice for the important stretch run of the NFL season. But yeah, guys, those are my thoughts on the Rashee Rice situation coming to a close off the field. But definitely want to hear from you guys in the comments what your thoughts are on this. Do you think this was a fair punishment for Rashee Rice? How many games do you think he'll be suspended? Definitely let me know down below. All that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. Make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com for more. Last but not least, follow me on Twitter at ShowMeFB. That's all I got for you guys in this one. I'll see you all in the next one. And as always, go Chiefs.